So we are a small department. We are the only one still in Front Square. So as you enter Trinity College from Front Gate, our department is on the right as you come in. And so we look out on a very fine view, both directions, Front Square and Dame Street. There are about 8 staff in the music department. We're a small department, and each year we take 35 students at undergraduate level. We take 20 in combination with another subject, that's the TSM, and we take 15 doing music by itself, just pure music. So 35 students each year, which gives us nice, fairly intimate class sizes, and for some of our subjects we like to divide the classes up a bit in music, so some of our classes can be very small, like 8 people, 10 people, so you get really good teaching and supervision and so on, and things you do. The first question, I suppose, is how do you get in to do music? And you go the normal route, of course. You do your CAO, and if you're interested in coming to TCD to do music, you put it at the top of your CAO form, so that's perfectly straightforward. But there's also, if you want to do music, we have an entrance test. And the entrance test is not too daunting. It just tells us a bit about you. And what we want to know is, have you got an ear? Really important for us to know that you can listen to a tune and have a go at notating it. So one of our most important tests is a short oral test. And we will play you a melody, we'll play you a rhythm, some intervals, and we'll also give you a right or wrong. We play you a fairly simple piece of music. You listen to it, and we make some deliberate mistakes as we play it. And you just note the mistake as best you can on the form. So listening a melody, a rhythm, some intervals, a piece of music that we write out on the paper, which we play slightly wrongly. And you see if you can hear what we're doing wrong. If you want to see what it's like in the flesh, don't be afraid, go to the Boydell room at 1 o'clock, and you can experience a little bit of the test, just to see what it's like. It's purely for experience. So you can just go in, eavesdrop, and we'll play you a sample entrance test, so you can get an idea what you're letting yourself in for. So that's the oral test. There's a musical rudiments test, when we ask you to write a scale, some intervals, and to do other fairly basic theory-related tasks. And that tells us, can you read and write music? At a fairly simple level. We're not asking you to write Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. We're just asking you if you can notate intervals and do some fairly basic musical things. So we can tell if you can write music, if you can write crotchets and quavers and things, and this is sort of basic music theory. Not at an advanced level, but enough for us to get started with you if you come to read music. And the third test is a general knowledge test, and this just asks you some questions to name the composer of a piece of music, for instance. Can you tell us for instance, who wrote Cats? Or can you tell us who wrote The Messiah? That sort of question, a few simple questions on music technology, and related stuff like that. But the test that we really look at when we're marking, and the test that we want you to get a passing mark in, is the oral test. If you do well in the oral test, we tend to interview you. If the oral test is really not successful, that's when we don't call you to interview. So that is how you get in. And normally we interview most people, and there's no performance. So absolutely no need to bring an instrument, no piano, Nothing like that. If you want to do single honour music, music by itself that is, or if you want to do music with another subject, like history or history of art or whatever, we don't want you to play for us. So when you come to the interview in the music department, you will sit down with two lovely, friendly people, and they will talk to you for 10 minutes or so, and if your oral test was a little bit on the edge, we might give you one or two oral tests in the room to see if you come up a bit, and we will ask you about your interests, what you're hoping to do, that sort of thing. So that's the interview, if you're called. So it's not traumatic for most people. And you won't have to play an instrument. If you come to read music in 2000, well, whatever next year is, 2014 or 2015, in your first year, the classes that you will attend are history of music, and we'll be looking at music from about 1600 to 1750. You'll be studying that during the first year, and in order to be assessed in it, you will write essays, and you will do what we call a listening test, when you'll be played pieces of music from that period, from a list that we've given you, and then asked to identify them and comment on them. You will also be doing music technology in the first year, when you'll be taught some basic things about music and notation, music on computers, how composers can use computers to write music, that sort of thing. So music technology, history of music, you'll be given oral training, so you will be listening to music and singing it back and things like that. You will be doing harmony, that is to write voices under a melody to make it into a sort of hymn-like texture, so that you add harmony to a melody, and you will eventually be writing longer pieces like minuets and so on. And you'll be doing counterpoint, that is combining two different melodies together, or three melodies together in a way that works. And that is pretty much what your first year will look like. There's one other module, we have to call them modules, that we teach. It's called music analysis, and this is teaching you how to encounter music and how to talk about it and how to break it down into its component parts. It's all designed to help you understand music and how it's written and how it's constructed. So that's what you would do in your first year. And then you go into your second year, and we give a little bit of choice over to you. We say, well, what are you interested in? You know, do you think you're a historian of music? Do you want to study music history more? Do you want to study manuscripts of music? And that sort of thing, in which case you go to musicology, as we call it, which is the study of music. If you like the music technology more, and a lot of people do, then you can specialize in music technology. And some people want to express themselves and write their own compositions. In other words, they want to create their own music, in which case people do composition. And you carry on with other subjects like harmony, counterpoint, history, but we ask you to start specializing in the second year, but you can take two specialisms. So we don't ask you to choose too much. You can take two subjects. And then the third and fourth years, they're the years which form your degree. We don't count the marks of the first 2 years. So in the third and fourth year, we start producing your what we call the moderatorship, which is your BA, your Bachelor of Arts. And that's when everything starts to count. And also every mark you get in the third and fourth year is part of your degree. It's counted into the final assessment that gives you a first, a 2-1, a 2-2, and so on. And then you carry on with one specialism, which can be composition, that is freely writing music. You can do musicology, which is studying music, learning about composers and works, and so on. Or you can do music technology, which is like putting sound to image, creating electronic projects of various sorts. Don't ask me too much about it because I'm not a music technologist, but it's a very popular specialism in music, as is composition. So we give you quite a lot of chance to do the things that really interest you, and our students at the end of it are really good, really very good. If you follow the 4-year course, you can go anywhere in the world and understand what's going on. So a lot of our students, not that I'm saying you want to do this, but if you wanted to study music further, you could go anywhere and do it. Go New York, Berlin, anywhere that you could sit. You have a very good grounding in music, and if you want to teach music, you can go and do the HDIP for the 5th year and qualify as a second-level teacher, or go into arts administration. Our graduates have good career trajectories. They do pretty well in employment. But you have a general purpose BA, so if you want to go into merchant banking, you can do that as well, because you've been to university, you have a good qualification for life and for getting on in life. So it's a very good course. It's stimulating. It's in a very attractive environment of Front Square Trinity College, and you get quite individual attention when you need it and when you want it. And Trinity has the best library in Ireland as well, and best listening resources, lots and lots of music for you to encounter. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I probably missed out a huge amount that you want to know. You can ask me. A lot of the music we study is what we call classical music. That is music from the tradition of Haydn, Bach, Mozart, Tchaikovsky. But increasingly, we are looking at other musics, and in music technology particularly, you encounter music of popular musics, rock and so on. This term just finishing now, we ran a module on music of the 60s, pop music of the 60s, and the course was 10 weeks, and it looked at each year some of the main figures like Bob Dylan and so on. We also run modules on film music, and at the moment we're collaborating with our 2 neighbouring departments in the school, drama and film, to put people into film projects and film production. So the musicians are tending to supply the sound technology and the compositions. Film is supplying the cameras and the lighting, and drama is supplying the actors, which is great fun. You know, you produce a 6 or 7 minute film. So we're sort of expanding a bit as much as we can. Any questions? Yes? I beg your pardon?
With regards to studying abroad, what options are there?
Yes, we cooperate fully with Erasmus. So we have relationships with in Paris and 1 or 2 universities in England and so on. So it's usually possible to spend a year abroad. Haven't really tried a 1-term arrangements, but certainly a 1-year option is possible. Yes?
Is there any music performance?
Yeah, good question, and I meant to say that and I forgot. We do have a recital. You can do a recital in the 3rd or 4th year, but it's a relatively small element, and we don't teach performance. So if you want to carry on studying an instrument or the voice, you do so in your own time, and you can do a recital for a relatively small number of credits, but it is an option. Any other questions? Yes?
You say that you just do mostly classical music, so I think your audition should be mostly classical pieces.
Well, as I was saying, we don't actually ask you to perform. We don't have an audition. So we're sort of more the theory and study of music rather than performance. So you don't have to worry about that if you want to come to Trinity. Doesn't figure. Yes?
Is there any modern or H1 music covered?
Yeah. We have 2 composers, and they both write well, it depends what you mean by modern music, of course. If you mean modern classical music, is that what you mean? Yeah, we do definitely cover that, and we teach it a lot. And one of our composers, Evangelia Rikaki, is really quite an avant-garde composer. So yeah, you will have people holding violins upside down and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. Yes?
If you were to specialise in composition, would there be an emphasis on studying popular music, or would it just be classical music?
The two cross over somewhat. The background of the composition teaching is classical, but a lot of people doing the course are interested in popular music, and so there's scope, to cross over, as the term has it. But the emphasis, I would say, is classical. Yes?
Are there career prospects for those who want to further study?
Career prospects are pretty good. We have success in different areas coming out of music. Some people have gone into arts administration. Some people go into second level teaching. And if you're doing TR001 or 2, then you need to do a 5th year to qualify for that, the HDiv. Some people have careers as instrumental teachers. It's quite a common thing. Some people do carry on studying music, and we've got quite amazing success actually of people leaving Trinity and getting jobs at universities and colleges. But you'll do more work. You might do a PhD or some a doctorate to do that. And a lot of people just go and do something totally different, like go into banking or law or so on. But it's it's nice to do what you enjoy for 3 or 4 years, isn't it? So yeah, but there are quite good job prospects. Any other questions? Yes.
With music technology, is the emphasis still on classical?
No, I would say it's much wider. I hear all sorts of strange sounds coming out of the music technology labs. I think death metal was the last thing I heard coming out of there, and whatever that is, which makes me sound. I do know something about popular music, but that's not one area I'm very familiar with. Yeah, it's quite broad actually, and the lecturer who teaches music technology is probably more interested in popular rock things than in classical. Yeah.
So that can be the emphasis of your 3rd and 4th year?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, just to put it in perspective, if you do music technology in your 3rd and 4th year, it would be half the marks of the 4th year and about 1/3 of the marks of the 3rd year. So it's a lot of marks go into your specialism. Yeah.
Do you do a dissertation?
Do I do what?
A dissertation in 4th year?
If you are a musicologist, we have 2 dissertations available to sophisters. There's a short dissertation for 10 credits, which anybody can do. And there's a gargantuan 20-credit dissertation, which musicologists do in their 4th year. That's when composers are doing a portfolio of their music, and when music technologists are doing a project of their own choosing. Yes?
Is there any A-level requirements?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Is there any A-level requirements for UK applicants?
There is an A-level requirement, yeah. I can't remember what the currency conversion is between A-level and leaving certificate, but Trinity sets its sights quite high in A-level terms. I can't remember. Does anybody know? 3 A's or something? It's set quite high, but you'll find that information in admissions. Any other? Yes.
Sorry, why are there only 15 places, or how many places are
There are 35 places. There are 20 for people doing 2 subjects and 15 for people doing just music. So we take 35 students each year. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yes.
Do you cover any ethnomusicology?
No. Pity, isn't it? We'd like to, but we don't have anybody to teach it.
What are the options for master's degree?
The only master's degree that we teach at the moment is a master's in composition. But that's a 1-year course which follows the BA. We're looking at creating more. So watch this space. Yes?
If you were doing a general music course, what would the main emphasis be on?
If you're doing a general music.
Or, yeah.
But it's quite spread out, because if you choose your specialism, So that's going to become an increasing focus as you go through. If you don't want to specialize, then you can spread yourself out more, but nobody has ever done that. We have to sort of, but your emphasis, if you're a student, if you talk to one of our students in the 4th year, their emphasis will be their specialism. If you talk to somebody in the 1st year, they're doing a broad spread of subjects, you know, history, oral, harmony, counterpoints, they're doing all sorts of stuff. And if they're doing another subject, then you know, their head's also full of English or French or so you have a lot on your plate. Yes?
Points for last year for this.
I can't properly, I think it was 450, was it, for single on it? Something like that. And I think some of the TSM combinations were becoming very expensive, because if you choose, for instance, to do music and psychology, the music may not be high, but psychology is going to inflate the choice. So my advice to you would be to choose 2 or 3 TSM combinations if you can. Yeah.
In terms of the TSM modules, how much would that course differ from the single one?
How much would it?
Would it differ, the modules, to share the single one?
No, it's completely separate. So English, if you do it with English, English is completely, you know, it's a completely separate thing. There's no collaboration between the departments. I should probably stop in a minute. Just let me check the time. Okay, I think it's time for another question or two, if there are. Yes?
If you're specialising in composition, do you produce a portfolio? Is
That is the goal, yes. Yes.
and would it be like a set task, like a sonata or something? Or
No. No, you negotiate that with your lecturers, but you basically write what you want to write. Yes?
Sorry, just in regards to the TSM music and the single honors music, is the music correlation, is there any difference between those classes?
No,
No, they're the exact same, are they?
exactly.
Whether it's single honors or TSM?
Yeah. We have this principle in music, which is that single honors and TSM should learn exactly the same. But the TSMs do less work. So that's how we distinguish between them. But you do the same number of classes. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming.